this is exactly what I was going to say. If you think Australian football is shit, go down to Amy Park on Saturday night. Melbourne Derby, City versus Victoria. Go down to that game, and I promise you, you'll be hooked. Promise you. Overall, from the first third of the season, this is exactly what United were going to offer. And this is exactly what they're going to offer for the rest of the season. And it is actually one of the best things for United. Because they're playing a style of football which takes time to learn and takes time to master. And they're doing it in a way which is improving their overall squad. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Two Footed Tackle podcast. I'm your host Ari Stamatakos and we are back again for episode 13 of season number 2. Heading into the real meat of the footballing season. Well, until the World Cup comes and cancels everything or shuts down everything in just under a month's time. Maybe I don't know how many episodes we've got left until the World Cup. It might be 3. I think we've got 3 or 4 episodes left until we crack into the World Cup coverage, which is going to be good. It's going to be great. So, what should I do? I think so. The plan for that, just on a side note, is we're going to go up to the World Cup. We're going to do one episode before the World Cup starts. Basically doing previews, every preview for every team, for the whole lot, right? We're going to be doing that. And then we're going to be doing an episode every single match day. So you're going to be hearing a lot of me. I won't sleep. I'm going to be very tired. I'm probably going to get really ill. But it's all worth it because it's the World Cup and it happens once every 4 years. So you sacrifice a little bit of sleep to get as much content out as possible. Yeah, I think we've got 3 episodes left. Of the Premier League or of the regular footballing season, and then we'll crack into World Cup coverage. But that's just irrelevant information for now. I hope everyone is well. I hope the weekend and the week, I should say, has treated everyone nicely. It has for me, as you can see. Got a nice haircut. Got a nice shave of my beard. So now I don't look like I'm homeless. I look actually semi-presentable now, which is good. As you can, I'll tell you what I like. I'll tell you what's really funny. Just previewing the episodes once I get a haircut and then just watching my hair, my beard slowly grow out and I look slowly more homeless and more just disheveled. Whereas now I look clean, I look nice, I look nice and tidy, which is good. But yeah, that's pretty much everything on my end. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I didn't even have to tell you that because you could probably see with your eyes. I mean, unless you're listening on Spotify or anything, then it's good to tell you. Got a haircut. I look good. Yeah, I hope everyone's week treated you well. Football was back in a pretty big way. No games on a Saturday night, which kind of... no games on a Saturday night as I adjust my camera. Yeah, no games on a Saturday night when we're looking at Australia time. Anyway, no Premier League games, which... kind of messed with my equilibrium a little bit. I did not know what was going on, but we had all the games on Sunday morning, which was good. Yeah, I think let's just crack into that. Enough of my ramble. Just before I start, make sure you subscribe to the Two Footed Tackle podcast on YouTube. So yeah, subscribe, like the podcast, and notification bells as well, just so you don't miss out on any clips, on any episodes, and any other Two Footed Tackle related news on the YouTube channel. Follow on Instagram and TikTok, Two Footed Tackle podcast, TFTPod on Twitter, where I live tweet during most games and live tweet or tweet my thoughts as soon as things happen. So yeah, if you want my immediate thoughts on things, then yeah, there you go. Go to there. And also, of course, audio platforms as well. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Anchor. Leave 5-star review. It would mean more than the world to me. It also shows other people that people are listening and people are enjoying, and it might persuade some people to come on over and to have a little bit of a listen because, yeah, that's just good. That's good for the algorithmic engagement. I think that's what the phrase is called. But yeah, let's just crack in. Enough of plugging myself. Have I plugged myself enough? Sure. Actually, why not? Let's plug myself more. I do other content as well. If you want to see more of me, head over to the Inner Sanctum YouTube channel. The Inner Sanctum, just type up the Inner Sanctum on YouTube. You'll see my face doing some player spotlights, It's a great series. A couple more videos of me up there. It's great. It's good fun. It's good fun. If you want to hear me talking about Australian football a lot more than what I do on this podcast, go over there. It's good fun. All right, now let's just crack in because I ramble way too much. Fuck me, it's 5 minutes in already. What are we going to speak about today? Well, not a lot happened. Oh, a lot of things happened, but I kind of wanted to speak about some more topics. Maybe broader topics. I want to speak on Kylian Mbappe, as you could probably tell by the title. It'd be weird if I titled this what I titled it and then not actually spoke about Mbappe. So let's speak about Mbappe. Let's speak about Man United briefly. I don't think I spoke about them last week, or did I? No, I didn't. I don't think I did. But I want to speak about United briefly. I want to speak about Drake because he just loves to get himself involved, doesn't he? He loves to get himself involved. I want to speak on the A-League as well. I want to speak on, obviously, the second match day. I want to speak on the All Access documentary, which was magnificent. I want to speak on the atmosphere at Western Sydney versus Melbourne Victory, which was brilliant. I want to speak on the other games that happened as well. So briefly, then we'll touch on who went into footed and then a preview of the week's action. So let's just go. Let's just start. Now, let's start with what the title of this podcast actually is. Kylian Mbappe. Now, I've titled it "Is he overrated?" Now, of course, the reason why I speak about this is because there's been some rumours throughout the week that he's unhappy, not content with his position at PSG, which is quite funny considering what contract he signed literally 3 months ago. But he's not happy. So, I mean, he can be... There's no rules. He can be unhappy if he wants. And he quite clearly is unhappy. And there's rumours saying that he might leave after the World Cup in January. Now, fuck me, man. Because he's... See, Kylian Mbappe is a really weird player when you speak about him. Because I've titled it, "Is he overrated?" Now, he isn't overrated. Is he overrated? I think personally, in terms of the player that he is, in terms of the player that he is, I think he's appropriately rated. I think he, pound for pound, probably the best footballer in the world in terms of age, marketability, actual talent, etc., versatility, etc., etc. I think pound for pound, he probably is the best footballer in the world, but in terms of footballer, he isn't. I think that's obvious. In terms of footballer, he isn't. And in terms of what he actually offers, I don't think he is either, because he's problematic as fuck. And we've seen that. I mean, the contract that he signed is ridiculous, right? The contract that he signed in the summer was absolutely ridiculous. And a contract like that screams to me of a player who you don't really want in your team. Now, he's been linked to Real Madrid and Liverpool. They're the two main clubs, and I've just found out today that he's followed a bunch of Chelsea players on Instagram. Like, he's followed Mason Mount. I think he's followed Kai Havertz. He's followed a lot of people on Instagram from the Chelsea. Now, where does he go if he leaves? I don't know. Who can afford him? Probably Real Madrid's the only team who can afford him. Maybe City, but I doubt they'd go after him. I don't think they will. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes if he goes. But what the point of this conversation is and why I pose the question, is he overrated, is because do you really want Kylian Mbappe in your team? For the sake of your football club, do you really think Kylian Mbappe is the right player for your football club? I think he offers more negatives than he does positives. I think he'll be a detriment to any club he goes to, in my opinion. I don't see a world in which he goes to a football club and improves them overall. I think, yeah, on the pitch he can improve them, but in the dressing room he will destroy them, in my opinion. And financially, it will be abysmal because he's going to be worth how much? Like, in terms of A, transfer fee, if he goes via that mechanism, or B, wages, and C, signing on fee, agent fees. He's not worth it. He's not worth it. Value for money wise, he's completely not worth it. And yeah, he might be the best player in the world in a couple of years. But is it really worth all the negative things that he offers to a football club? And we've seen what he's done to PSG. we've seen how he was able to rort the system to basically have free reign over that football club, which I've already given my thoughts about in terms of that contract. I just don't know. I just don't know I just don't understand why football clubs would want Mbappe over other players. I think if you had the choice between Haaland and Mbappe, you take Haaland every week. If you had the choice right now, probably between Messi or Mbappe, I think you take Messi, man. I think you would still, even though Mbappe's got 10 years on him, and even though Mbappe probably has obviously that profitability factor which Messi doesn't have, because Messi's 35 or whatever. I just don't see a world in which you can fully justify the talent that Mbappe has to what other dribble he offers, if that makes sense. I just don't see it. I just don't see it, and I think it will be a catastrophe for whatever club he goes to. Because think about it, he's one injury away, and I'm not saying that he's one injury away from being rubbish. That's not what I'm saying. But it's as soon as he gets injured, or if he does, obviously we don't want him to. Obviously, no one wants any player to get injured. But if he were to get injured, and say he were to get injured on a semi-serious basis, let's just say like 6 to 8 weeks, right? What does that do to the team? Because you build a side around Mbappe, right? And PSG in a fortunate position where they've got Mbappe, yeah, but they've also got Neymar, they've also got Messi, and like they've also got other players around him to actually do it, but to actually do well. But that's the only reason they can do that is because they've got the backing of a country, right? They've got the backing of a state, right? So if you were to go to Liverpool, who he's been linked with, firstly, how do they afford it? I think he would have to be to let go of Salah. I think that's probably the only way that they can kind of afford that. Because based on how much Salah's worth, but I know he just signed the contract like not that long ago, so it's like, well, how does that work? And I mean he won't go to Liverpool. There's no chance he goes to Liverpool because of that wage structure, right? He'll just break that tenfold, right? So there's no point. But if he were to go, how do they afford that, and where does he fit in? Obviously, he'll probably play on the left because he'll probably play on the left. I don't see him playing up front because of Klopp's way of playing football. Mbappe just doesn't suit that. Mbappe doesn't press, so he won't play up front. It would be Mbappe on the left, Núñez up front, and then Salah on the right. But as soon as Mbappe goes down, I feel like that has such a detrimental impact on the whole squad because he's their key player and he's on so much and everything would be built towards him that it would just hurt them too much. And then if he goes to Real Madrid, I'd assume he'd probably play up front, maybe, unless, he can't play him on the left because where do you put Vinny, right? Unless you put him on the right, or unless you move Vinny onto the right, and or unless you play him up front and then wait for Benzema to piss off. I don't see him fitting in any squad. I don't see him fitting in any team apart from PSG, and I don't see him working at any other team apart from PSG. And that's not me saying that he's working at PSG right now, because he isn't, in my opinion. In terms of, I think this is doing a lot of harm to PSG, the Mbappe kind of thing, right? Now they are 3 points clear. They're 3 points clear with 11 games played behind, 3 points in front of Lorient, right? They've got a plus 24 goal difference, and they're top of their group in the Champions League, right? Which is great. Good on you. Congratulations. But they're just, the fear factor isn't there. Like, it just is not there. Based off of their last game against Marseille, they'll end up in like a 4-3-1-2. Well, that's what it says on FotMob anyway, but really I'd assume it would play a little bit like a 4-3-3 with... They've got it lined up with Messi and Mbappe up front, with Neymar just in behind. But they've also been playing a 3 at the back formation with like Mbappe as the top of that kind of triangle up front. Where does he fit in? Where do you put him? Where do you play Mbappe? Where do you play him? And that's why this whole uncertainty around him is there, because is he a striker? Probably. Is he a winger? He's definitely not a right winger. Do you play him off the left? Probably, right? But where does he go? He is not. I think the thing is with him versus Haaland is Haaland. I'll just pronounce it however I want to pronounce it. Haaland, the way that he plays is a lot more certain than the way that Mbappe plays, in a sense. Now, Mbappe is a generational talent, we know that, but he offers a lot more negatives or a lot more uncertainties or question marks than Haaland does. Like, City signed the player because they knew exactly what he was going to do on the pitch and off the pitch. They knew exactly what he was going to do. You don't know that with Mbappe. You don't know whether or not one day you're just going to be like, fuck this, I want to leave. You never know. One day you're just going to be like, fuck this, I want to play on the left wing. Don't play me up front. I mean, we all saw that clip that was circulating Twitter a couple of weeks ago where he just stopped running on a counter attack because he didn't get past the ball. Haaland doesn't do that. Haaland will chase and will run and will do everything for the team. That's why I bring up the conversation of is he overrated? Because yeah, you get the player, but you also get every single negative thing attached to him as well. And there is so much. He's probably got the most baggage a footballer has. That plays at the elite level. He's probably got the most baggage out of every footballer that plays at that level, in terms of the most toxic baggage. So, do you take that risk, or do you even want to take? Do you want to take that risk, or is it even worth it? I don't think it is. I think if you ask 90% of Liverpool supporters, do you want Mbappe? They'd say no. They'd rather go out and get someone like an Nkunku maybe, or someone of that ilk, right? I was going to say Lucas Paqueta, but obviously he's gone to West Ham, right? So they'd rather go out and get someone of that ilk instead of Mbappe because of how not unassuming because of how unproblematic they are, but just because their net positives kind of even out in a sense. It's really weird when you say, but when you compare, let's just compare Nkunku to Mbappe. I think their net positives, or their net worth, in terms of as a footballer, I would say are very similar, if not the same. Because you have the positives of Mbappe, which are far better than the positives of Nkunku, in terms of like actual player, like the actual ability of the players. But then you take the baggage of Mbappe and you take the baggage of Nkunku, and it kind of evens itself out. And Nkunku would come for a lot less, which is like that monetary figure. I know Nkunku's done a deal with Chelsea by all accounts, but just as an example. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tricky. It's really tricky. I wouldn't say he's an overrated footballer. I would say he is an overrated asset, which is kind of shit to say because they're people. But let's be honest, footballers are assets these days. They're not real people. They're just figures to, like, they're puppets to launder money, right? Well, not launder money, but you know what I mean. I would say as an asset, as a footballing asset, he's overrated. Not as a pure footballer, if that makes sense. I just felt like it was good. It was a good topic to discuss because not a lot of people have discussed it at length in any way. So yeah, I wouldn't say he's overrated. I say he's an overrated asset, which is a tricky concept to understand, but I think I've explained it pretty well. I think, well, at least I've explained my thoughts pretty well. So yeah. Yeah, overrated asset. I don't think Liverpool should get him. I don't think Real Madrid should get him. I think where does he go? That's probably the next question, and I want to touch on this briefly. Where does he go? Let's just assume he leaves in January. Who picks him up, man? No one picks him up. No one signs him if he goes in January. No one signs him. Is he going to be a free agent for 6 months? No chance. What will happen is he'll probably end up staying. That's what will happen. He'll probably end up staying, and then he'll probably end up leaving in the summer for £200 million plus I don't even know or he can leave for free because that's probably something to do with his contract. I think PSG would want him to go. If PSG, I don't know what the circumstances are with his contract and why he's leaving. I've heard that it's mutual termination. I've heard that's the reason, or like his contract's going to be terminated or something, right? But if they get something for him, yeah. So Kylian Mbappe is asked to leave PSG in January. Is that because? Is that because he wants to? Is that like because his contract termination, or if he's going to get sold? I don't know, man. I don't know. I've got no idea. Okay, so apparently he's never asked to leave. That the rumors are completely false. Well, who knows? Who knows? Who? Yeah, who knows? Anyway, I just felt like. So apparently it's not true. So I've just spoken about that for 15 minutes for no fucking reason. But yeah, I think he's just got a massive fucking ego and he's a big baby. That's pretty much all I think. Let's move on. Let's go to the next talking point as we just tick over 21 minutes speaking about something that's irrelevant. Good. Probably should have done a lot more accurate and timely research, but it is what it is. I want to speak on Man United as we move on because I kind of to gloat. In a sense, not really gloat, but I just want to touch on what their season has been so far. Now, United season has been so weird. They obviously started poorly. 2 losses in a row to start the year. And then they beat... who'd they beat? They beat fucking Liverpool. They went on a 4-game win streak. They beat Arsenal. And then they got spanked by City. Got away with one against Everton, in my opinion. They got away with one against Everton, and then they drew to Newcastle. So it's been that season for United so far, which is exactly what I said it would be at the start of the season. Now, what we saw against Newcastle was the exact way that I thought United season would go. It was almost there. Everything. I think we're going to look at United season at the end of the year. They're probably going to finish somewhere between 3rd and 6th based on the way this season's going. And we're going to look at their season and think, all right, it was almost there. They just need a little bit more cohesion and they need a little bit more, they need a few more pieces of the puzzle. I think what United season needed to be was a figuring out season. They need to figure out what they were doing because the whole club's in a rebuild, right? So this season was kind of a free hit. Unless they finished 15th, United could have finished anywhere between 8th or 9th or pretty much anywhere from 8th or 9th to 1st, right? And no one would have cared in terms of no one really should care about where they finish. And the reason why is because it's a figuring out season. And why I say this is because they figured out what their best back line is, which in my opinion was obvious at the start of the season, but it's obviously Dalot, Varane, Martinez and Malacia. That's their best back four. They finally got a defensive midfielder in. They finally got a winger who can actually do something. So now, what do they need? They probably need a backup goalkeeper or another goalkeeper because I don't think De Gea's distribution is up to scratch for a Ten Hag system. They probably need a better right back because I like Dalot, but I think you ship Wan-Bissaka out the door and get a first choice right back in. I think you need to get a number 9 in, like a very good number 9, and you need to get a proper kind of ball playing defensive midfielder to partner Casemiro. Dare I say Paul Pogba, but obviously not. That's what United need, right? So now that they've figured out a little bit of the piece, like they figured out half the jigsaw, they're just kind of going through the motions and trying to figure out if they can try things to get more out of this squad. And they're being fundamentally, they're just slowly figuring out their tactics, figuring out what they need to do. If they go far in Europe, that's a positive. If they go far in cup competition, that's a positive. If they can get a trophy, I think they'll do a world of confidence for Ten Hag and for the team. But I watched that United game quite intently against Newcastle, as my dog just is going ballistic for no reason, if you can hear her. I watched that United Newcastle game quite, not intently, but I was keeping an eye on it, and I saw exactly what I thought I was going to see from United. It was, in terms of, I wasn't surprised in the slightest. I tweeted at the start of the game that I thought Newcastle were going to get points off United, and I was not shocked in the slightest by the way that game panned out because of what we've seen from United so far. We saw that, oh my God, they took points off. They beat Liverpool and Arsenal, right? Liverpool, we all know how big that game is, and they beat Arsenal, which they're the only club this season to do so, right? So we're like, oh my God, things have turned around. But in the same vein, they got smacked by City. So it's like, oh, it's there. No, it's not. It's there. No, it's not. Which is exactly what this season for United is going to be. So, yeah, I just feel like United fans are wanting it a little bit more. That's why I wanted to speak on it, because I saw on Twitter and social media and shit, which really is a fake place, in all honesty. But I just saw a little bit of comments about, oh my God, like, how can we not beat Newcastle? We should have beaten Newcastle, all this stuff. I was like, this is just where you guys are at. And let Newcastle a good side. Granted, they've got a couple of injuries, obviously, no Isaac, no Saint-Maximin. But they're exactly where, as you can hear my dog again, I don't know what she's barking at, but she's obviously angry at something. So I don't know if it's gonna be picked up on the mic. I think it will be. But yeah, like, obviously Newcastle were depleted, but United had chances. On another day, they probably do win. I think it was Rashford had a chance with the last kick of the game. On another day, that goes in, right? On another day, that Ronaldo goal stands. On another day, they get a couple of penalties. But this game was a microcosm of their season. It was going to be almost there. Just like they beat Liverpool, they beat Arsenal. Oh my God, it's turned around. They get smacked by City. So everything is just going to slowly mould into place. And this season will be a lot more, I think, how do I explain this? At the back end of this season, so when this season finishes, the outlook for United will be the best outlook in about a decade, if that makes sense. They're going to have the most positive outlook based on this season that they've had in a very, very long time. So yeah, Ten Hag ball is slowly ticking away. Anthony's proving to be a great signing. Obviously that back line is slowly ticking away to becoming a very solid back line. Varane and Martinez, as my camera refuses to focus on my face, still refusing to focus on my face, still not focusing on my head. There we go. Leave it. It's focusing on my mic. I'm just going to leave it. So obviously they've figured out their back line, Martinez, Varane, Shaw, Malacia and Delo. That's slowly ticking away. Casemiro's added a very good factor into that. Midfield double pivot, whoever he's partnered by. And I think it's that front third which needs working. Anthony's a great signing, but apart from that, the rest of that front third needs working. But Ten Hag ball slowly edging away and slowly becoming something pretty good. This United's, how do I explain this? Like, this, it's hard to explain. I want to give like a rounding like summation of what I'm thinking. What we've seen from United so far this season is exactly what we've seen from United this season is exactly what we were going to see. We weren't going to see anything different. We weren't going to see a United side that was struggling to win games, and we're not going to see a United side that was going to like beat teams, if that makes sense. Like, maybe not beat teams, but like the overall from the first third of the season, this is exactly what United were going to offer. And this is exactly what they're going to offer for the rest of the season. And it is actually one of the best things for United, because they're playing a style of football which takes time to learn and takes time to master, but they're also doing it in a way which is implementing new players like Malacia and Delo, who have become first-team regulars. Lisandro Martinez has become a fantastic player. Anthony has become a very good player for them. And they're doing it in a way which is improving their overall squad. In terms of the squad, not just the first 11, the squad is improving. There's little pieces that are still to be filled. I think they need a new striker. I think they need a new left winger, and they probably need another central midfielder. But if they get those three in the summer, then this foundation that they've built this season is going to pay dividends next season and the seasons beyond. If they finish sixth this season, it shouldn't matter. If they finish first this season, or maybe not first, if they finish second this season, it shouldn't matter. The table position for United this season should be irrelevant based on what we've seen on the pitch and what we've seen in terms of improvement wise for the whole squad. That's how I think I should describe United season. But yeah, let's go as we tick over half an hour. Let's go to something which I found very funny, and that's Drake. Now, a little bit of I should probably get like a sound effect, maybe like a car screech or something, as like a swift turn or a sharp turn to a different topic. But Drake. This guy, man. He put, what was it, like $300,000 or Canadian dollars, US dollars on both United and on Barcelona and Arsenal to win. Now, obviously Barcelona wore a shirt with his little logo, little bird thingy. Who the fuck knows what that was, but it's something to do with Drake. They wore that on their tops, and they got spanked 3-1 by Real Madrid, which is quite hilarious. So that's kind of amusing. And then obviously the Arsenal leg came up. Should have cashed out, man. Should have cashed out. It's stupid. It doesn't think. You always cash out. Arsenal got away with one big time, bit of a daylight robbery job, but they got there, but Barca let him down, so he just lost 300,000. Was it 300,000? I think it was 300,000 paying out like 3 million or something like that. So yeah, he's just been absolutely jibbed there. But I mean, not like it matters because it's Drake. It's Drake, so it doesn't matter. I just thought that's funny. The curse lives on. Technically, the curse lives on because I think without VAR, the curse would have lived on. And on any other given day, the curse lives on. But VAR just kind of made sure it kind of got shadowed in a sense, or kind of got overruled. But I mean, the real curse with Barca in terms of he really represented Barca with his fucking logo on the shirt, which granted looked good, but also like, come on now. Yeah, so the curse lives on pretty well. The curse actually does live on. So who does he go to next? If he ever comes fucking near Chelsea, I'm going to be angry. Or if he comes near Melbourne victory, although I don't think he will. Although that would be a turn, wouldn't it? If he just rocked up at Gosh's paddock taking photos with Nick D'Agostino and Jack Brimmer. That would probably be the peakest A-League moment ever. It would just be great. And I think that's a good segue to actually speak on the A-League, which is my next talking point. So let's touch on just A-League Match Day 2 review, in a sense. I want to make an effort to speak on the A-League every week because I feel like I need to give it some airtime because it's actually pretty good this year. Now, what I'll first really want to speak about is the All Access doco. Now, I encourage everyone, before I speak about it, go and watch it before I speak about it. Go and watch it before I give my thoughts. It's on the Keep Up YouTube channel. It's only half an hour long, not even. And basically what they're doing is they're releasing a episode every week, like a all or nothing style documentary behind the scenes every week based on what last week's was. So last week's, or like the first episode was on the Big Blue. It followed Nani around and followed Victory around in their preparation for the Big Blue So that was released on Thursday. Now, absolutely fucking perfect. How, like, I criticize and I complain at times about the production levels and about the overall advertisement and promotion of the A-League in this country, but this is fucking perfect. Like, this is so good, because we saw what Drive to Survive has done for the F1. We saw what maybe the Queen's Gambit did for chess, to a little bit of a lesser extent, but still pretty real extent. We saw what those two documentaries, I know Queen's Gambit wasn't a documentary, but we saw what those two kind of productions have done for their respective sports, right? And I know, obviously, this All Access doco isn't on the level that Drive to Survive is, just purely based on it's Australia versus the F1, right? And I know it's a little bit different because F1 is a little bit more dramatized naturally based on the fact of the sport itself than football, right? So it's a little bit different. But if this this will 100% get more people invested, 100%, and it's perfect. And the way that they're doing it is perfect because they need to tap into this younger market. Because they're the future, right? They're the future. You need to tap into the people that are between ages 25 to 15, 14, even 13, even 12, right? They're the people. They're the people they need to tap into, and doing this on YouTube, making this freely available, making this easy to access, and making it accessible to people of that age bracket is exactly the type of promotion that the A-League needs. Now, in terms of the actual content of the documentary itself, the episode 1 was fantastic. I thought it was really good. I really liked what they did with Nani. I really liked the insight that we were able to get. In terms of what we saw himself, Nani seems like a pretty good guy. Seems like he's actually willing to do some work and willing to actually play football properly instead of just coming for a 12-month holiday like Daniel Sturridge. So yeah, from that perspective, it's good in terms of from a victory perspective, and from an A-League perspective as well, because when you have marquee signings, everyone wanted Daniel Sturridge to actually play well instead of coming for a holiday, even if you're a Brisbane fan, Wellington fan, whoever, right? So, okay, I guess that's good. I liked, from a victory perspective, I like the way Popper conducts himself. I think it's pretty good. I like the way, like I said, Nani conducts himself. It's pretty good, etc., etc. It's all pretty good. As my camera, once again, refuses to focus. But I don't think that's my main talking point. What I really want to speak about was just how perfect this is for the A-League, and they need to promote the shit out of this documentary. Get it everywhere. Get on TikTok, get on Instagram, get on Twitter. Just push it out there. Push it out there as much as you can. And you can do it because it's as freely accessible, right? It's going to be on the YouTube channel, and it's going to be there for everyone to see without you don't have to go out of your way to find it. It's literally there. It's literally right there. You just need to click a button and watch it. So I enjoyed, and I'm really enjoying the way that the A-League is conducting itself this year. Granted, the promotion for the start of the season wasn't great. I think, tell you what it is. If you took the promotion for the start of the season, which we had last year, in terms of the promotion for the start of the season last year was very good. If we took that this year, put it into this preseason, made a couple of tweaks to some things, Paramount in particular, and then have this all access doc, I think would be very good. But we can't have it all. I think it's slowly improving, and it's slowly getting back to where it was. I do think Paramount and 10 have a lot to do. But it's a start. It's a start because it hit rock bottom a couple of years ago, and we can't look back. We have to kind of look forward and say, all right, acknowledge where we were, but now look forward to where we need to be. And I think this All Access documentary is going to be exactly what this country needs in terms of its sport, and exactly what this country needs in terms of football in particular. It's the new age, it's a new media, it's new everything, and it's going to engage a lot more people, especially if it's done properly. Now, if the first episode is going to be like every episode, then perfect. Chef's kiss. I love it. It's exactly what, like I said, it's exactly what this thing is, right? It's exactly what we need. It's exactly what this country needs, and it's exactly what will get people invested. You can do as many advertisements on primetime TV as you want, but let's be honest, in the age of TikTok, in the age of social media, in the age of everything modern, doing something like this is the best way to get in touch with those fans and get in touch with those casuals who like football but don't really watch the A-League, but probably like pretend they support Melbourne Victory or Western Sydney or whoever. Getting those fans to actually be invested, this is the best way. So, yeah, massive tick in terms of the All Access doco, and I think this transitions perfectly into the atmosphere on Saturday night was like perfect. Like, and there was 18,000 there, I think, which was very good. Granted, it's not the 30,000 or the 20,000+ that we used to see at Amy Park games, but I understand Victory and Western Sydney are the benchmark in terms of active support, but you can't say the league is dead, right? Because how do I explain this? For every fan who, or for every non A-League watcher, go and watch that game, right? And don't actually watch the game, but like acknowledge the atmosphere, because you can say, like, how do you explain this? You can say the A-League has no quality, or you can say the A-League quality is equivalent to Sunday League. And if you say that, firstly, you're wrong. And secondly, okay, if you believe that, at least acknowledge the very good atmosphere that some games can produce, right? Because once you do that, then that's going to get you invested. Because once again, football is entertainment, right? Yes, it's a sport, but it's also entertainment. If you can be entertained by a lot of different things. You can be entertained by the things on the pitch. You can also be entertained by the things in the stands, right? I can guarantee you, if you go to any Melbourne Victory game this season, any home Melbourne Victory game this season, your eyes will be drawn to the terrace all night, all day. That your eyes will be drawn to them more than the actual football. Not to discredit the football, but because of just how passionate those fans are and just because of how good the active support is. Like, don't sneer at it just because it's Australian. A lot of people do that. They just sneer at, oh, the quality's shit, which it isn't. It just objectively isn't poor quality. Like, I'll tell you what's funny. Those who say the A-League has poor quality haven't watched an A-League game in their life, right? So your opinion is immediately invalid, immediately null and void, right? And if you actually go and watch an A-League game, if you actually go to Amy Park on a Saturday night, not only will you see some very good football at times, you also see some very good fans, some very good active support like we saw on Saturday night. And when you couple those two things together, you get invested and you go to more games and then you buy the merch and you watch it on TV and you get invested and you get engaged, and then bang, everything will grow from there. People almost gatekeep hating the A-League. It's honestly something I've never seen before, and the non-A-League watchers in Australia are some of the weirdest fans I've ever seen, right? Because they complain that, oh, how can I go watch the A-League? The quality's shit. No one goes to the games. Okay, start going to the games. Because then once you start going, more people will start going. More people will start going. And then all of a sudden, everything improves from there. The more you sneer at the A-League and the more you sneer at Australian football, the less likely it is to actually improve. If you want it to improve, then actually help it improve. And if you say you want it to improve, but aren't actually helping it improve, then really you don't care about football in this country. You can say you do, but really piss off to England, wake up at 2 a.m. to watch a team that you've never been to the ground to, right? So you can do whatever you want in that respect. Unless you're actively trying to improve the game by just getting around, by tweeting about it, by buying a Melbourne Victory top, buying a Western Sydney top, tweeting about it, going to games, watching the documentaries, doing stuff, engaging with it, everything helps. So unless you're doing that, I don't want to listen to your opinion, right? I don't know. This is developed into a pretty unnecessary rant, but like, This kind of goes back to what I saw on Twitter. And I was going to speak about this in Who Went Into Footy, but I feel like it's just going to be a little bit of a good topic to speak on now, right? We all, like, if you're on Twitter over the past couple of days, you know exactly what I'm going to speak about. But what frustrates me the most, about football fans in this country, and I use quote marks because I don't think they actually are football fans. What frustrates me the most is you have a game which is so accessible to you, and yet you try your hardest to discourage it and to break it and to burn it. I don't understand that logic. If you have something you love, everyone who is listening to this right now loves football. So why would you not want more football? Why would you not want more accessible football? Why would you not want football that is 30 minutes down the road which you can attend on a Saturday night instead of football that's 900,000 kilometers away that's on at 3 a.m.? Why would you not want football that you're actually connected to? That's what I don't understand. And if someone can please explain to me that, then by all means. But if you say the quality of the A-League shit, then anything other than the Premier League is going to be a shock to you, right? Because if you think that, if the reason for you not watching the A-League is because the quality's shit, then, I can't help you, right? You're a lost cause. If you say the active support is shit, or the fact that no one goes, that's a reason why you don't watch it, well then, the fact that you're not going to it is you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, right? So blame yourself for it being poor. Blame yourself because you're part of the problem. And then I don't understand any other reason why you wouldn't go. It's frustrating, it's annoying, and we saw on Saturday night. I don't even know why I'm ranting about this now, but fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. What we saw on Saturday night was such a good. What we saw on Saturday night was such a good introduction for those who aren't really fans of football in this country. And it's like, all right, this is what it's going to be doing. This is what it is when it's not in a good place. Imagine what it will be when it's in a good place. Imagine how much better it will be. So help it get to that place. Help it get to where it was maybe 10 years ago, when it was booming, when it was thriving. Instead of sneering at it, and instead of making fun of it, and instead of gatekeeping it, in terms of gatekeeping the hate towards it, get around it, get amongst it, because what's there to lose? What's there to lose? I saw it on Saturday night. I saw some of the fucking things on Twitter and stuff, and which, Twitter's not a real place, right? So I don't even know why I'm getting this wound up about it, but yeah, you just have this. I'll tell you what, I want to use this analogy. If you love if you love cheesecake, right? You love cheesecake, right? Would you rather go and get cheesecake that's 900,000 kilometers away, or cheesecake that's 30 minutes away? Answer me that question. Right? So I don't understand I just don't understand it. I don't even know why I'm ranting about it in this respect. All I wanted to speak about was the fucking atmosphere on Saturday night and how good that the scenes were and the terrace and stuff. But I've just ranted because I was going to speak about that in Who Went Into Footed. I was going to speak about what happened on Twitter yesterday or on Sunday night and shit, or on Saturday, Sunday. So turns out I'm just speaking about it now. But I actually want to speak on the A-League generally as well. Sydney are actually good this year, which is shocked. I had them outside my top 6. I don't know if they're good or if it's just that Western United are bad. But Lowly and Mac look the gravy. They look very good. And I said this last week, they could become a very formidable wing partnership this year with a Fondra through the middle. They've got a pretty balanced midfield with Yazbek, Caceres and Bratton. Their backline does leave a little bit to be desired at times, but I feel like they could they could do something here. They could do something. I don't know what, but I feel like they could. Western Sydney, sorry, 2-1-0 wins to start the season. They got away with one on Saturday night against Victory. City top of the table. And then you have Perth and Brisbane floundering at the bottom of the table, which we all expected, but Western United glued to the bottom. Obviously, no Prejovic in both games, which is a little bit of a shock. I think John Aloisi said he had a toe injury, which I don't know if I believe that. I think there's something else going on, but I think you just have to take his word for it. But I feel like they're a much better side with Prejovic in. Like it's night and day just how good. Or how much different they are. I think they went with Wenzel Halls up front against Sydney, and it just didn't work. I think that their system relies on a big man up front. Yeah, they went with Wenzel Halls with Payne, Wales, and Troy Easy in behind him. Yeah, they need a big man up front, and I think Prejovic is that guy. They were very, very fortunate that he stayed, because if he went, I don't think their season would be any. I don't think they would have any promise this season. But they just need to get him back ASAP, because they're a much better team without him. I think obviously Newcastle Jets got their first win against Perth. Mikkel Tadze in the 93rd minute. I really like Newcastle. Like there's something about them. Like I don't know. Maybe it's because Arthur Papas is. Maybe it's a subconscious Greek connection, but I really like Piscopo, Bahaja, and Mikkel Tadze. I really like. I think that could be something very good. I think they can create something very good this season. Jenkinson as well adds a little bit of quality, adds a little bit of class, and I feel like they could sneak into the top 6. I can't remember where I had them. I didn't actually do a predictions video, but I didn't actually write my predictions down. But I think I would have had them somewhere between 5th and 8th, maybe a 5th and 9th. But I would love to see them get in. Anything else important? Wellington back at the Caketon, which is good. I saw a couple of things. Saw a couple of people saying they don't really like watching games at the Caketon. I think I do purely because it's heritage, and I think that's another thing I want to speak on with Brisbane back at Suncorp. I understand there were 7,000 people that went on Friday night, and it probably didn't make for a good atmosphere. And you'd rather 7,000 people in a 15,000 people stadium than a 30+ thousand people stadium, just because of it looks fuller and it creates a better atmosphere that way. But I don't know, it's just heritage for me. Like Suncorp, the Caketon, NIB Stadium, Amy Park, even Marvel, which I know Victory stopped playing games at. That's why I like Sydney FC back at the Sydney Football Stadium. I really like that. I don't know. It's just heritage for me, and I just enjoy. I think visually I'm used to it. I didn't really like Redcliffe. I didn't really like that visually. Like I don't know, it just didn't suit. Like I just didn't like watching games there. I prefer watching games at Suncorp. And like I said, I prefer watching games at the Caketon than where they played. I know obviously they were in Wollongong and other places because of COVID and stuff, but they played a couple of games in New Zealand away from the Caketon a couple of years ago, I think. And I didn't really like that either. So it's going to be, that's just, there's a couple of things that I just picked up on. There's obviously the big game on this weekend, this Saturday night, which is going to be this is exactly what I was going to say. If you think Australian football is shit, go down to Amy Park on Saturday night. Melbourne Derby, City versus Victory. Go down to that game, and I promise you, you'll be hooked. Promise you. Just go. It costs $30 max. I don't even know. It shouldn't cost more. It's a Melbourne Victory home game, so the noise will be there in decibels. Just go. Enjoy it. And you'll be hooked. Guaranteed. Guaranteed you'll be hooked. But I guess you can't control a lot, can you? You can't control what the naysayers do. But I don't even know why I went on that rant. I just wanted to speak about the A-League, and I just went on a massive rant. Fuck me. Anyway, let's finish up with Who Went Into Footed. And basically this is the segment on this podcast, which happens at the end, where we just dissect what's anything dumb and daft and stupid and just utterly confusing, idiotic that's happened over the week's football. Two things happened, actually. And two things were not anyone's fault. Firstly, the Hull versus Birmingham was delayed, I think 2 hours, because the goals were too big. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but don't they just have the goals up all year? Like, isn't that how it works? They just have the goals up all year, and then they just like put them face down, and then they just lift them back up. I swear that was how it works. And also, how do you get them wrong? Surely there's like a silhouette or like a, what's that thing? Like a stencil. Surely there's like a stencil for the goal where you just like build it. How can you have them too big? And I thought of this. I was like, how many other times do you reckon there's been games played where the goals have been too big? I would guarantee there's been at least a game played this season where the goals have been too big. At least this season, I think in the history of football it would have happened so many times where the goals have been just like an inch too big. And do you reckon that's like affected the score of a game or like a goal that's gone in? Because how can that happen? I don't get it. I just thought that like everything was just like all goals come in one size. Like I swear there's like you have like 5-a-side goals, you have like futsal goals, then you have like 7-a-side goals, and then you have like 11-a-side goals. Isn't that how it works? Anyway, I just thought that was fucking so confusing. And it was funnily enough because that happened on the same day that Arsenal versus Leeds was delayed an hour because there was a power outage. I think Mikel Arteta stole the cord to plug into his light bulb to get the energy in the dressing room. But it was funnily enough because VAR ended up winning Arsenal the game. So that was quite funny that it got delayed and then VAR ended up winning Arsenal the game. But yeah, quite hilarious actually, quite funny. It was good though because the obviously you had Southampton, West Ham, Chelsea, Villa, United, Newcastle. That game went to half time. And then you could watch the Arsenal Leeds game, and then obviously that went. Then you switched back over to Newcastle United, and when that game finished, you went back to the Arsenal Leeds game, and then when that game finished, you went straight into Liverpool City. That was sick. That was mad. It was like football on all the time, no breaks. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see fucking who was. I don't even know who was on Opta Sport. It would have been Rafa and I think it was Shearer maybe. I don't want to hear them talking shit. I just want football. I just want to watch football, more football. So that was good at least. And yeah, I don't know. I think that were the only two things. And then I was going to speak on Twitter kicking off, but I kind of spoke about that a little bit just before. But yeah, Twitter kicked off last night because basically, if you are unaware, how do I describe this in a very political? No, not political. In a very diplomatic term, a lot of jealous people on Twitter. I think that's probably the right word to describe it. Not jealous of me, although I mean, imitation's the greatest form of flattery in a sense. But yeah, not jealous of me, although not yet anyway. Yeah, just I'm just gonna go up my own ass even more. But yeah, no, just a lot of people angry that a lot of people are angry that a lot of other people are doing good things. Doing a lot of good things and doing things that they couldn't do. So yeah, you know who you are on both sides of things. And I'm actually not in my mum's basement, I'm in my mum's study. So yeah, got that wrong though, didn't you? So do your research next time. Yeah, although that definitely wasn't directed at me, but I still find it quite funny. Yeah, you know who you are. You are doing good work, and yeah, I think everyone knows who the good guys are and who the good people are in this space. And go basically go on Twitter. I think I quote tweeted the tweet in which I'm referencing. There's a bunch of people in the replies who do fantastic work. Go follow them. Go check them out. If you want more football podcasts, go check them out. So yeah, go on my Twitter. It's linked in the description. Find my quote tweet to the tweet in which I'm referencing this whole thing about. Look in the replies to that tweet. There's a bunch of quality people doing quality content. This scene is growing rapidly, and a lot of people are angry at that, which just fuels me. It's great. Yes, that's enough. Thank you. Actually, preview. Jesus Christ, keep missing this. So, big Melbourne derby on the weekend, which is great. Get down to that. It's going to be grouse. It's going to be sick. And then, what else? Champions League? Champions League on? No, there's not. No Champions League. It's actually midweek games. Chelsea Brentford 5:30 in the morning. Like fuck, I'm gonna get up for that. But United Tottenham is actually a pretty good game. Yeah, that's it. Chelsea United. That's can't wait for United to beat us. It's gonna be great. Can't wait. After what I've said about United, it's gonna be that. They're just gonna come out and smack us 4-0. But Graham Potter, 5 games, 5 wins. I think. Is it 5 games, 5 wins, or 5 wins in a row? Yeah, 5 wins on the trot. 5 wins on the trot. 5 from 6. Late title charge, am I hearing? But yes, that is all. Thank you all very much for watching. We're ticking over an hour. Jesus Christ, I've spoken for quite a bit. But yes, thank you all very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the 2 Footed Tackle podcast on YouTube. Like the podcast, notification bell, Instagram, TikTok, 2 Footed Tackle podcast, Twitter, TFTPod. Basically, if you want to hear my live thoughts on things, on games, on other football related things. Audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. 5-star review, 5-star rating. Like it, follow it, subscribe to it, on all that things. It would mean the world to me. But yes, stay well, stay safe. See you guys next week. Speak soon, and goodbye.